Do you feel overwhelmed and fatigued all the time? The nervous system of highly sensitive people is like a high maintenance supercomputer. It gets a lot done, but also needs more care. In this video, I'll be sharing the 8 habits that finally calmed my highly sensitive nerves after being stuck in survival mode for 2 decades. But for the habits to make sense, you need to understand why HSPs are so prone to getting stuck in survival mode. Think of your nervous system as a horse carrying weight. Without any weight, the horse can run for a long time before it needs rest. But if there's a lot of weight, it gets tired quickly and needs rest sooner. Ideally, you keep loading and offloading weight. But what if you keep 100 kgs of weight always on its back? Think of how quickly it would get tired and even become weak. The same is the case with your nervous system. The stress is the metaphorical weight you carry. Now, the weight of stress is a natural part of life. It comes and it goes, which is the loading and offloading metaphorically. Although, when you carry trauma, that is the equivalent of always carrying 100 kgs on your nervous system. This prolonged stress is what puts you in that survival mode. And highly sensitive people are especially vulnerable to trauma and survival mode because A, you feel emotions so deeply, and B, the world is designed by normal people for normal people who don't feel that deeply, which stresses your system out even more. I didn't think my childhood was traumatic in any way until I spent the last 6 years researching trauma and diving deep within my own psyche. And I feel confident in saying that 100% of highly sensitive people experience trauma in some form. Because your family is unable to truly see you with your special emotional needs. And society fools us into believing that what happened to us was normal when it was really trauma. Which, by the way, is the entire premise of this book by Dr. Gabor Mate. That is also why I've created this free AI tool that helps you understand how seemingly insignificant things could be traumatizing to a highly sensitive child. You just answer some questions and it tells you exactly how traumatic your childhood was out of 100. I took it myself and was surprised by the result. Do check it out. Here are 10 micro habits to calm your highly sensitive nerves. Now, the best thing to do is to offload this weight of trauma that you're carrying on your nervous system. But that's the long term game. I recently made a video on that, which I'll link for you at the end. In the short term, however, the habits that I'm about to suggest will give your nervous system more rest, which will enable it to function smoothly and effectively. The first habit is my favorite way to beat overwhelm. The nervous system of highly sensitive people processes stimulation more deeply, which means nothing but you take in more pieces of information from sounds, smells, your surroundings, and even your emotions. That is exactly why you get overwhelmed so easily by things like loud clubs, strong perfumes, strong emotions, and a lot of work. The easiest way to counter that is to reduce stimulation. Duh. Practically, I do that by having free time in my days where I just do nothing. I just lie down, maybe close my eyes, and let my mind wander aimlessly. Even 5 to 10 minutes between your work days is a game changer. And closing eyes does wonders because vision alone is 70 to 80% of sensory input. If you end up focusing on your breath, that's added bonus of a meditation, but you don't even have to do that. The second habit is the easiest way to reduce overwhelm. Every day before I sit for my deep work, I clean my messy bed beside the table. And if you're a highly sensitive person, you'll relate to the fact that it just doesn't feel right to work in a cluttered space. It's difficult for me to explain, but every time my eye will go to the mess, it'll just bother me and take away from my productivity. Now you know that's because visual stimulus overwhelms HSPs the most. And by the way, research shows clutter itself is a sign of trauma. So you can see how this becomes a vicious cycle for HSPs. So keeping my environment clean relaxes me a lot. There's even something oddly satisfying about the very act of decluttering your space. It may be your bedroom or your work desk. The third habit is pacing, but not the usual kind. So let me explain. There are times when I feel overstimulated. Maybe I've consumed a lot of content on YouTube or worked for long hours, and it feels like my brain is just frying. Oftentimes, I will just take a walk around the block to reset. Research shows that any form of movement releases good chemicals in your brain that makes you feel better. And it's icing on the cake if you are among trees or greenery. Luckily for me, my locality is very green. There's some magic about a walk in nature that simply isn't there when you walk in a concrete jungle. Even a 5-minute walk in a garden calms me down like nothing else. The fourth habit is the best self love habit that actually works. When babies have skin to skin contact with their parents, it releases oxytocin, which is the bonding chemical. It also decreases cortisol, the stress hormone, and it activates the rest and digest response in the nervous system. The same mechanism operates in adults as well. But you don't have to always depend on your partner to gain these benefits. Self touch also soothes adults the same way. There's this yogic practice called Abhyang where you use oil to self massage from head to toe. Ideally, you use cold pressed oils to gently massage in the direction of your heart. So, if you're doing it below your heart, you move upwards. I do this once a month or so. I follow it up with a warm bath, and this combination just feels like the ultimate self love exercise. As cheesy as that sounds out of my mouth as I say it. You can do this on your weekends or whatever day you have time for yourself. Which brings me to embodiment. Because HSPs are deep thinkers, they often get caught up in their head a lot. And if you're watching this, I don't think so I need to tell you how that causes unnecessary stress. This is where getting out of your head and into your body is transformational for HSPs. So things like yoga force you to come into your body, which is the actual goal of yoga. Yoga is not for increasing your flexibility or becoming a human rubber band, but rather it's for you to harbor and get comfortable staying in the body. But even tiny steps help. Like you can do this with me here. As you're watching this video and listening to my voice, focus your attention towards your body. If you're sitting, feel your ass resting on the chair. And if you're lying down, feel your back on the bed. Notice the sensations of your feet on the floor. Just notice it for a couple of seconds here. Bringing your attention into your body instantly brings you back to the present moment and grounds you. It literally grounds you, brings you closer to the ground. So the next time you notice yourself ruminating or getting overwhelmed in between your days, just close your eyes, get inside your body, and notice the instant change. Coming to habit 6. What do you think is the ultimate reset for your nervous system? Think about it. The pinnacle of rest and digest for your nervous system is sleep. It's the most important aspect of your health you can focus on that single-handedly impacts every area of your life. Now, there are several ways you can improve your sleep quality, but I'll share the one that will give you the highest ROI. Because your nervous system and brain loves predictability, it thrives when you have a fixed sleeping schedule. So going to sleep more or less at the same time every day and waking up at the same time every day. This tip is simple, effective, but not easy. I know how good a fixed sleep schedule is for my sensitive nervous system, but I still struggle to maintain one. Which brings me to another habit that will improve your sleep, although indirectly. I believe we get so focused on removing the negative things from our lives that we forget to add the good or helpful ones. Because HSPs feel things so deeply, when you're happy, it's like you're ecstatic. So for you, I don't know whether you've noticed this, but cherishing beautiful things is very uplifting. I know I'm sounding vague here, so let me suggest a concrete exercise from a new field of positive psychology. It is so effective that I do it every single day as a part of my nighttime routine. Every day before sleeping, I write the answer to these three questions. What is the one thing that made me smile today? What is the one thing that I'm grateful for? And what is the one win that I collected today? Recently, I've substituted the win for what is the one encounter with beauty I had today. Or to frame it simply, what's the one beautiful thing I noticed today? When I sit to write the answer to these questions, I take a moment to put myself back in these three beautiful situations that happened in my day so that I can fully cherish them, no matter how tiny they are. And I go to bed feeling content with my day, even if it was stressful or fuck all. If you're dismissing this and thinking it's dumb, I can relate. This is how I felt about it until I actually gave it a try. The final habit is taking a shit on a piece of paper. One of my clients, she had a homestead, because of which she had to do 1,000 chores around the house, and her mind often was overwhelmed, which in turn distracted her from working on the coaching business. She had tried meditation, using willpower to force herself to focus on the work for a long time, but nothing really worked. I suggested her to write everything that's been going on in her head on a piece of paper before she sits for work. And this resonated with her immediately. It's called brain dump, and the reason it's so effective is because not only does it helps you process pent up emotions, but it also helps you offload everything that's been going on in your head onto a piece of paper. It's the same feeling as taking a massive shit, literally. Because I'm in a mission to empower HSPs, if this was helpful, I encourage you to share this with someone you know is highly sensitive and would benefit from this information. And if you want to dive deeper into the cause of this survival mode, click here to watch this video where I talked about the fundamentals of trauma and the three most powerful ways to heal.